In this episode, we sit down with Kyran O'Neill, the founder of Total Mental Performance. Kyran helps entrepreneurs, high performance, business owners, and athletes become the best versions of themselves. In this episode, we talk about Kyran's journey and why he pursued a passion in helping other people live their best lives. We go through quick fire questions and he drops some absolute bangers of knowledge. This episode is not to be missed. I hope you enjoy it. We've been on a bit of a journey together since January through your Total Mental Performance. And as I've mentioned to you before, it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. So firstly, thank you.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it. This is not something that you've always done. And we've obviously had conversations about your journey. But I want to deep dive into the journey. Where did everything really start for you? Because I know you've had different experiences in other careers. You've had other sporting, experiences, but to get to the point to where you are now, TMP, absolutely loving it, killing it, smashing life. Take me back to the beginning. Where do you feel like the journey really began for you with everything?
Yeah. So if anyone's from Tom's audience is looking at me like, who is this dude in the dodgy purple shirt? I'm Kyran. I'm a mental performance consultant. So essentially I work with business owners, execs, high net worths around three things: change the way in which they think, change the way in which they feel so we can drive performance. So I'm using skills from cognitive hypnotherapy, NLP, a background in international boxing, international software sales. And I'm essentially taking a series of frameworks, philosophies and skills and experiences, and I've distilled that down into what I call mental performance consultancy. I also have a company called Total Mental Performance. That's a coaching team that works with business owners to essentially drive the same results that I drive with my clients. That's kind of where I am now. But the actual journey really goes back to school. So in school, I always felt trapped. So I had undiagnosed ADHD. I could never sit still. I could never concentrate. And in all of my exams, I would sit in the room and I'd start standing up. I'd start looking out the window. I'd be getting told off. And I just couldn't do it. And I just got this message all of the time: Kyran, you're intelligent, you're bright, you're capable, yet your grades just don't reflect that. And I was just told I wasn't good enough all of the time. And in that environment, I internalized that. And I think children go one of two ways. When they get told they're not good enough, they either accept the message and they go, you're right, they don't try. Or they go the other way. Fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what I did. I had a huge chip on my shoulder. On top of that, the next experience, so my dad was my football manager. We were bottom of the bottom league and he benched me every game. So as an adult, we can laugh and say, you really must have been dog shit. And I was. I'm not good at football one bit. I'm really bad, like awful. But as a kid, it was like, not even my dad thinks I'm good enough. So I'm not good enough at school. I'm not good enough at football. But then I stepped into a boxing gym when I was 12. And straight away, I loved it. The snap of the pads, the smell of the leather. And what I also loved, it was all about me. I couldn't be substituted. There was no exams that I couldn't concentrate in. And I could see exactly what I put in is what I got out. The harder I trained, the fitter I got. The more that I studied, the more intelligent I got in my sparring, the better I got. So that turned into a 10-year journey of boxing. So just boxing on the amateur circuit to eventually getting onto the men's England team and winning a spot on there. And my dream was to go to the Olympics. That was it. I was like, right, I'm going to the Olympics. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I just went for it. Now, halfway through that journey, my boxing coach, the one that basically completely changed my whole path, he passed away, sadly, Martin. And I made him this promise that I'd win him the national title on his deathbed. And I thought I was in a film. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this and whatever. And I never fulfilled it. Got to a couple of national finals, but I never won it. And I put so much pressure on myself. There was so much grief that I hadn't actually processed. I couldn't really perform. And I started overtraining. I started chronically anxious. And I was 56 kilos at the same height that I am now. I'm 5'8". So I'm massively underweight. I ended up with an eating disorder, anxiety, depression, and I actually tried to take my own life. And that for me was, it was like I just had to rebuild everything.
And what age were you at this point?
I was 19.
19. Wow.
Yeah. On top of that, so you've obviously had Gareth, mutual friend, mentor, he's like a big brother to me.
Yeah.
I was selling software for him when I was 17. So I also, not only was I fighting at that level, but I was also working in software sales. And I was trying to run another business because I left the software sales to train full time, tried to build this other business, and it all just went wrong. And yeah, there was just one day I didn't want to be here anymore. I was so depressed, and I was driving the car down the motorway so fast. I wanted to smash the car into the side of the road just to make the pain all go away. But there was this weird voice that popped into my head. I don't know what it was. Don't know, fate, a thought, a higher power. I don't know. It just said not yet. So I didn't. And my mum picked me up from a service station, like shaking in the car park, binge eating on sweets. And I didn't leave the parents' house for 2 weeks. I was like, brushing my teeth was an achievement. Like, that's how low things got for me. Lost my place on the England team. The business that I was trying to run failed. So I was put in £15,000 of debt from that not working out. And it all fell apart. So I had to rebuild pretty much everything from scratch. So by that time, I'd already had some success in software sales, and I managed to get a job in the city selling for a company called Rakuten. So they're the 4th largest e-commerce company in the world. Think of Amazon for Japan. They have banks, they have e-commerce marketplaces. They sponsored Barcelona Football Club. They sponsored the Golden State Warriors. I got a job there, and I had to take a step back in order to go forwards. So with Gareth, I was opening and closing deals. This job was booking meetings for other people to close deals. And the guy that hired me, he's still my mentor today, Ron, he was going to invest in the other business that failed. And in a whiteboard, he went, "This is why it will fail. Waste of your time. Get out." And he was right. And from then, that's where the door closed. But I called him up maybe 6 months after, and I said, "I've lost my place on the England team. The business hasn't worked out."
So the business that you wanted to start,
That had started.
that you had started,
That failed.
he said that it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
Really?
And he was right, yeah.
And what was the business?
It was a nutrition app for boxers.
Right.
So you'd put in your height, your age, your weight, and it would essentially calculate, this is what you need to eat before your next fight. Tell me how you're training, and that's what it did. And this is before all the big nutrition apps were out there, you know? This would have been, over a decade ago.
Why do you think it failed? Because of the mental state that you were in?
No, the market wasn't big enough.
Right.
There's not that many boxers or fighters on the planet.
Sure.
Now, if we'd pivoted to Gen Pop, then we're targeting millions of people, right? But because boxers, there's only maybe 10,000 that are actually actively competing at any given time on the planet. If that, the market was too small. So there was that. The value wasn't great. Like it got results, but it wasn't a sticky product, and we were charging too low for it. So it was never gonna take off. But that was my MBA in business. Like everything I learned from that set me up. So, like all of the mistakes I made, I've never made those mistakes again. And it was honestly the best business thing ever. Because I could have gone to university and studied business, or I could have just gotten stuck in software sales and in this business, and that was my business degree, you know? So anyway, Ron says, "All right, I got a job for you, and it's for some big dogs, and it's going to be selling at a level you've not sold at yet. And I want you to put your ego in check, and I want you to book meetings for my other sales guys." And I was like, "You've seen me already close deals over 100K. And like, you know, I'm 19, 20 years old at this point, and my ego's quite big." I'm like, you know, and he goes, "Yeah, but you're £15,000 in debt. You're going to be living on your auntie's sofa while you clear off that debt. You're not really in a good negotiating position here, buddy. And you've told me you want to come and learn from me. You've asked me for mentorship, and then I've given you an opportunity, and now you're telling me you're too good?" He goes, "Take it or leave it, champ." He's quite brutal.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, I needed that.
Yeah.
So I looked at my options and I went, Yeah, no, he's right. So yeah, moved into central London, was living on my auntie's sofa, getting to the office for 8 a.m. Cold call, 8 a.m. till 2, 3 p.m. into Europe. Then America woke up. So then, and I was the only person in the office that figured that out. And I asked, can I sell into America as well as across Europe? And they went, if you want. So then 4 p.m. until about 7 p.m. selling into America. And then I'd go get on the train to a boxing club and go and train in the evenings, get home about 10:30 p.m., 11 p.m., shower, eat, sleep, do that Monday to Friday. And that's how I lived, you know. And to be fair to Ron said, you'll clear off the debt within 9 to 12 months. Knowing you'll probably do it earlier. And I did it in 6. And then now I'm back at 0. I'm not even got any savings. I'm just back at 0. And then, after that point, they said, all right, you've figured that out. Let's get you into closing. Let's get you back into that. So then I went back into closing, and then, I worked as a number 1 guy, and I was earning great money, and fell into software sales. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Obviously, you work in sales too. And it just...
At what age was this then? What point were you the number 1 salesperson?
I was 21 and 22. I was the youngest in there. I was the most arrogant, brash, cocky. Like, essentially what I did, I repositioned the way in which we were presenting the company. So we were saying we are an Estonian technology business that's been bought by Rakuten. So we're backed by some really important people. And as a result, no one would talk to us. So I went, you guys are mental. There are pictures of Lionel Messi with our logos on his t-shirt. Why are we not using that? So I walked into the marketing director in a meeting with marketing and sales, and I said, I have repositioned the company. You can imagine how that went down, right? And that's how I was, right? And she went, excuse me? And I showed her my presentation. I took stuff from the other sides of the business, and I said, we are the 4th largest e-commerce company in the world. Here's who we sponsor. I represent the specialist division for e-commerce technology in this area. And she laughed at the presentation, and she said, yeah, don't run that. And I run it anyway. And next thing you know, like Nike are coming into our office to come and see what we're up to. Next thing you know, I'm closing deals with, say, like Moss Bros or Pepe Jeans, and these bigger brands are all coming to us now. And then the CEO, she didn't like me, I didn't like her, because I was just rude, I was arrogant, I was cocky, and I was closing all of these deals. And then she goes, how are you doing this? And I showed her my presentation. She said, this is amazing. Can you come and show the board? And I went, yeah, sure. And I come and show the board, and the marketing director sat at the other end of the room. I've got this cheeky little smile on my face. But that's how I was. I was very insecure, very outwardly confident, but very insecure. I felt the need to assert dominance through, look how much money I'm making. Look at my 6-pack, and I can fight, and it was very much built on weak foundations. And
where do you think those insecurities came from?
School, childhood, upbringing. I got this chip on my shoulder, right? I needed to prove myself.
Been told that you weren't good enough.
Correct, and not believing it, but kind of believing it, and trying to show everyone. So I reached this point where it felt like everything in sales everything I touched turned to gold, and I couldn't fail. And then I went to another company where it didn't work. And they'd overhired too many salespeople. Out of a sales force of 15 closers, only 1 person was actually hitting their target. And I realized, I guess that's not it. Like, I guess you can fail. And I was struggling to compute that. But on top of that, I'd made enough money to not have to work for a couple of years. And I was kind of questioning. I was like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Because it was very easy for me to sell when I was in debt. It's very easy for me to build up capital. And it was also very easy for me to party, because I was partying a lot, you know. And once I dropped the boxing fully and I let go of that, then I was just selling and partying. And every other weekend would fly out to another city or another country to go and party, and then come do it again work on Monday and do that whole loop. So by that point, I'd made enough money to not have to work. And I was like, why am I I hate this. I don't care about technology or data analytics and the way in which I'm working. I don't get it. But I enjoyed coaching the juniors. And I'd always enjoyed coaching, and I'd done boxing coaching for kids, particularly the talented ones. And I was like, I'm enjoying that more than that. I've also done a lot of therapy, and I've done a lot of mindset coaching and performance coaching as an athlete and as just a normal human being. And I went, you know what? I'm going to give that a go. So for the first time since I was 12, I had no source of income because I was always selling stuff at school and doing little businesses and whatever. And I just went, right, I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to retrain as a therapist, a cognitive hypnotherapist, and I'm going to study NLP, and I'm not going to do anything else. So I took a year off, or 18 months off to do that full time. And I just studied and I studied and I studied. And I did over 100 hours of coaching and therapy for free and there was no need to do that, but everything I learned, I implemented it right away. And then I graduated and people started paying me. And then I got invited to speak. And then now my whole business is referral only. And it's like,
crazy.
Yeah. And then, so as that's kicking off, I then get invited to speak in Dubai. Never wanted to go there. Not my place, not my scene, not my vibe. Like in my head, I was like, I'll never go to that country. But I got an invite and I was like, okay. And this was right before the second lockdown of COVID. So I went and I did a talk, and half of the room off the back of that one talk signed up within 4 weeks of that talk. But I was just a solo coach at that time. So then I hired my first coach, Dr. Kate Blackford, who has a PhD in organizational psychology. Then I hired Dan. So Dan has got a background in corporate sales, and he was also a qualified therapist. And I trained him up in the performance side of what we do. And then next thing you know, we're hiring Brendan and Charlotte and Jake, and it kind of grew there. And yeah, it was all quite organic. So that's the journey and how I landed. And obviously you met one of my other clients, Nathan Joseph, who was on the podcast. And then I can't remember. I think he might have mentioned something on the podcast or whatever. And he said, that's interesting. Can I have a chat with that guy? And then, that was it. Yeah. That's how my clients land in my world, to be honest.
It was Ben Hawksworth initially when I worked with Ben a couple of years ago. And Ben had mentioned that he was working with you. So that's when I first came across your work. And then it was Nathan. And this was back in January. And I wasn't struggling with my mental health. I wasn't depressed, but I just knew that there wasn't something quite right. But it was the first call that we jumped on. Can you remember when we did the exercise about, looking back in my past and where I didn't feel good enough? And it was after that I was like, yeah, this is what I need to do. This episode of the Tom's Talks podcast is proudly sponsored by Unthin, the hair growth company that's helping people feel more confident in their own skin. From supplements to topical product, Unthin is deeply rooted in the science behind helping people with a healthy hair and scalp. You can use the code TOM20, that's TOM20 for 20% off at the checkout. Thank you to Unthin for supporting honest conversations around mental health. What you are able to do it's like a superpower. So for me, I think it's commendable that you had the self-awareness to realize that even though you were earning obviously a lot of money, you thought this doesn't mean everything. Money's not everything. And you realize that ultimately you were unhappy, so you did something about it. And rather than going into something else where, it's not about other people, you did that. You went in and you wanted to help other people. So, I think it's amazing the journey you've been on. I think, like I said to you before, it's definitely one of the best things I've ever done. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. And I'll be frank, you're a dream client. And the reason you're a dream client is you're coachable. You have a goal, you have a vision, you're driven, you're ambitious. I set your homework and you do it. Yeah. So I have two types of clients. Some that are really stuck in their own head. They're burning out, they're anxious, they're overwhelmed, they're all over the shop. They are struggling, and they have businesses or they're successful in their field, but they're struggling to keep it together. You weren't that guy. You were the other type of client where everything was good. Like on paper, everything's fine. Yeah, like you knew there was another level inside you. You didn't know what it was, but like you could have not taken the coaching and you'd have been fine. For us, it was about taking you from good, taking you up to great. And yeah, when I saw the way in which you were thinking, the things in which you were feeling, and I looked at your ambition and what it is, I was like, there's only like 2 or 3 emotional handbrakes we can lift.
Yeah.
You'll start to fly. And then it was just training your thinking around decision making, training your decision around your time and how you're spending your time and what you're focusing on, and making sure you have the right people in your boardroom so you can continue to grow and take this business and your own personal performance to another league and another level.
The right who, not how.
Yeah, yeah. So
I think that was the best book you asked me to read was 10x is faster than
2x.
2x.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I remember you'd sent me it just before I went to Mexico, and you said you're either going to love me for it or you're going to hate me for it. And I went, why? And you went, you'll find out when you read it. And I was sat on a sunbed in Mexico trying to relax. And I was reading this book like, fucking hell.
Put it down.
I just want to get back to work. I'm just ready to get shit done. But it's just interesting how you just knew what the right triggers were. And you, like you said, you knew the levels, the gears, etc. You knew how that worked. But I think the most, and I hope you take this the right way, not the wrong way, how much you've managed to achieve in such a short space of time. So am I right in thinking it was 25 or 24 when you started doing mental performance coaching?
started studying at 23.
23.
Started doing that, like unpaid as I was doing my.
So in 5 years though, you've achieved a lot within the
with the Total Mental Performance company.
Within the industry.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, it takes a long time to master something, to get good at something. But the level that you're at, it hasn't taken. 5 years is 5 years. But
I think I've been doing it probably six and a half. But even so, like, I often say this to clients that want to make a change. Sometimes it isn't about taking a backward step; it's about taking a lateral step. So if you think about high performance boxing, right? You're learning to manage your emotions. I've done now. Last time I counted, it was 250. Maybe it's 350 hours at least of the conversations you and I have.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even more now, to be honest. Imagine if you'd spent 350 hours, maybe 400 hours, one-to-one with highly experienced experts on the way in which you think and feel.
Yeah.
So I already had, just through the compound effect of working with top performance coaches, sports psychs, and in that field, just there, I would already built the skills and the internal management and the resilience and the ability to spot opportunity and perform in front of audiences and high risk environments and decision making there. Software sales or any type of sales is the same thing, right? It's how do I understand people? How do I understand psychology? How do I understand what it is that people want? How do I understand someone's fundamental needs? How do I have the motivation and drive to keep going again and again and again? How do I ask a series of questions that's going to help us ascertain whether we can help someone or not really fast? Presentations and communication and even my voice. So I wasn't going to get promoted because I had a really rough voice. So I went to elocution lessons to learn how to re-speak so anyone could understand me anywhere in the world.
I think you have a very calming voice. I don't know if you ever noticed, but sometimes I'd come on to a call and I always used to say, I think Nathan said this on the podcast as well, and I said the same thing after. You always come away from a call with yourself feeling lighter. And I feel like as well, like I always, sometimes I feel a bit nervous before coming on a call, just because I wanted to get the most out of it and I wanted to perform at the best. And obviously you're somebody you hold people to a high standard just like you hold yourself. So I wanted to make sure that I held myself to a standard that you were used to working with. So, but even just within like a few minutes of the conversation, it was like, oh, it's just me and Kyran. Everything's good. Feel better. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. That's come from having the lessons.
Well, that CEO that I didn't get on with, when I was always butting heads with, she actually wanted to promote my colleague ahead of me. And the feedback was he was more polished than I, even though the numbers on the board was I was miles ahead. So I didn't feel like that was a meritocracy. So I could have taken that one of two ways. I could have quit and said, you know, fuck you.
you, yeah.
Yeah. Instead, I went, all right, I'll take that crutch away from you. So I found that elocution coach to teach me how to speak and let go of certain ways I was speaking and communicating, and I worked on my voice. And then 2 weeks later, you know, we were having like the final interviews, and she's like, why are you putting on that voice? And I said, I heard that you thought I wasn't polished enough. And she was like all flustered and all like, who told you that? And I said, I'm not going to break confidentiality, but I've been told that. And you know what? I understand it. I totally get it. So I took your feedback on board and I've worked on it. And she was kind of like taken aback, like, whoa, oh, okay. And I said, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to be successful with the right morals and values. I won't do anything outside of, you know, good standards and ethics. But whatever is required, I will do. And if you think I need more polishing, I'll go do some more lessons. And I think as much as she didn't like me, she respected me. And she went, you know what, like we can't keep this guy down.
Yeah, you can't not respect that though, can you?
Yeah.
Because if you're taking feedback from someone you dislike, then you're seeing the bigger picture, aren't you?
Well, when you get feedback in any field, all you got to ask is, do they have a point? She had a point. So I was pitching Burberry in Japan and Burberry in China. If I'm going to pitch them and I've got a rough and tough boxing accent, how are they going to understand me?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to slow everything down. I'm going to have to become more polished, you know?
It's interesting that because Amy, my wife, has said to me before about, you know, looking at making investments, whether it was with yourself or other forms of investment. She said, why don't you invest in a speaking coach? Obviously being a motivational speaker, a public speaker. And it's something I have thought about. And obviously the more you do something, the better that you get. And I look back at some videos, obviously I post a lot on social media, and I look at some videos and I look and I think, fucking hell, is that how I sound?
Yeah.
So it's definitely obviously worth the investment.
Well, it depends on what you're doing it for. So the way in which you speak really well and really clear.
What do you think?
Yeah, really clear. Like very easy to understand, very well timed, very well paced. So your communication's really good. I've also seen some of your speaking videos, and again, your pacing is really nice. There's always levels, right? So if you're just fascinated by the levels, then it could be something to go and explore.
I think this is why we work together, isn't it? Because we want to just get to that next level. But I'm always very conscious about my own words. You know, I'm always conscious about what I'm saying. Like I'm somebody that very much thinks about what they say before they say it. I think that's a sales thing though.
Yeah, but this is the crazy thing, right? So you know earlier I said about lateral steps. So boxing into software sales, into studying as a therapist, they're all lateral moves. They're not backward steps in order to go forwards, right? Language is, sales and therapy are both in the lands of language, the way in which you communicate with someone. So English as a language actually it's not the most expressive. So if you look back in, I think it's the Persian language, we have the word love. And love could mean like love of your partner. It could mean brotherly love, family love. It could mean lustful love. But it's just love. In Persian, they have love, a specific word for the love of your brother, a specific love for your friends, for your father, for your mother. They've got like 9 to 12, if I've understood the right language, they've got 9 to 12 different words for the same thing, right? So it's so easy for things to get lost in translation. So when you're selecting language, you've really got to think about, well, hang on, what's going to land with this person at this point or where they are, you know? And this is where things get lost in translation and
Communication breaks.
yeah, and even like the weird thing about language is we all feel words differently. So if I say the word anger, some people feel anger in their stomachs. Some people feel it in their hands. Some people feel it in their heads, and it has different temperatures with different people. So all of these words have different meanings, different feelings, different connotations. And it's actually really hard to communicate with language, but we do it. So when you're thinking about what language that you select and the words that you use, actually that's what top level communicators do, is they're thinking, how do I communicate? Because if you've probably got some local slang, whereas if you're trying to pitch someone over in America, they're just
Yeah, they're not going to
not
understand
going to get
that.
it.
Where do you feel anger? When you have it?
I'm rarely an angry person. Like anger is not something I get a lot. But when I do feel angry, I tend to feel it in my heart. Like the things that make me, I can experience a lot of frustration. Frustration I experience in my hands, in my head. I'm like, come on, gotta solve this. But
And is there frustration that you get from unmet expectations?
always unmet expectations. Well, expectation can be the thief of joy. Like often the best things in life have zero expectation. They're just a beautiful surprise. But it's like, this is going to be the best thing ever. And then you get there and it's like, oh, it didn't quite work out like that. Okay. So there's that. I think I get more angry about morals and ethics and values, which everyone gets angry about those things. I'm not unique to that. But I mean, something that would make me angry, people can make mistakes. Totally cool. No stress. Like things
Intentional.
Things don't work out. Cool. But I'm pretty old school. If we shake hands and we agree to something, I will honor my agreement.
Yeah.
And if you don't honor your agreement, that makes me angry. And if I know you've done it out of malice, and if I know you've done it not carelessly, but actually intentionally, that makes me angry.
I remember when we had our first, I think it was our second call. I might have been there, I can't remember, but you asked me to fill out a form. I came on the call, he said, have you done your homework? And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot. But obviously that wasn't intentional, but it's stuff like that, isn't it, that is frustrating. But the difference between anger and frustration is anger is if you've done something out of malice or you've done it intentionally, then that's the difference. Because we're human beings at the end of the day, we make mistakes, we forget to do things. So with total mental performance then, you will have worked with a lot of high performance people, entrepreneurs.
So Total Mental Performance, that company, that serves mainly business owners, like SMEs, and coaches. Whereas my private Kyran O'Neill consulting clients, which is the channel that you came through, those are more business owners, high net worths, entrepreneurs. Some guys are on telly. It's like that's a slightly different client set to the ones that are in Total Mental Performance.
Right.
You're in that category.
Between the two, you will have had some significant success stories, given how good you are at your job. Is there any success stories that come to the forefront of your mind more than others?
Give me, the challenge I've got is I've coached a few hundred people now. So it's quite hard to pick
out of everybody. If there's one,
I tell you what, do it this way. Give me some challenge, like a challenge, a business challenge, a personal challenge, or an emotion. Give me something like that, and I can pick out a story. Because I find it really hard to say.
I think. All right. So people love numbers. People love numbers. Who is the one person that came to you doing a certain amount of revenue in a business or a net profit, and by the end of working with you, they'd done 10x or something like that?
I can't say out of confidentiality specific
You can't
people.
Kyran, it's fine. Come on.
Can we share yours? Like if we look at yours, right?
Yeah.
We started saving you, what was it, 20 hours?
Yeah, I was doing 12-hour days. And
we took you to 8 hours days. So we were saving you 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
And then you did one of your best ever sales months ever. So you were working less and...
It was like 450 grand, 500, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was madness.
So you did one of your best months ever.
It's not about me though, Kyran, it's about other people.
Yeah, but they're your numbers that, like, like if you want to get specific, you can share, right?
If you want to tell people how good I am, that's fine with me.
Yeah. So that's one story. I essentially looked at Tom and I just went, this guy is working far too hard and he's spread too thin, and there is an emotional blocker in his head. There's a limiting belief that's keeping him doing all of these things. So by winning you back 4 hours, was it 4 hours a day? Because you're working 8.
Yeah, it was like I was doing 12-hour days, and now, I'm doing nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And it's about, I've just been able to let go of things that don't serve me. For example, me doing the coaching, although I work with some significant people that have, been like changed my life for the better, and I've had the pleasure of knowing, and some people that I've got, a real friendship with now. But the coaching for me was just something that didn't serve me. It was something I felt like I should be doing, but I didn't. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that you really challenged me on it to start with. Like, why? I think what you said was, you went, what is the thing that you love the most, and what is the thing that's draining your energy? And I said that doing the motivational speaking, doing the talks was the thing that I most, and at the time it was the coaching that was draining my energy. And you said, well, why are you doing the coaching? And then I came up with a million different excuses as to why I was doing it. And then gradually after time, you was like, Tom, come on, man. Like, why are you even bothering? But it was the way that you did it. You didn't point blank say, what the fuck are you doing that for? It was how you articulated the questions. And then rather than you telling me not to do it, you helped me realize that it was something that wasn't serving me.
Yeah.
And gaining back that power, gaining back that time, and focusing my attention on the things that were worth focusing on.
Yeah. Well, all of my clients are ambitious people, and ambitious people are pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
So whenever you try and tell someone do this, they're going to go, what do you know?
Yeah.
But if I ask you a series of questions based on a hunch that I have, I could see, hang on, this is draining him. And you had another business on the side of that other program that you were building, I think it was like the app or something.
Yeah.
So you've got two side businesses that are draining all of your energy. You've told me your financial targets for this business for the year, and I'm looking at that going, well, hang on, how is he going to win back the time and energy to focus on that when he's got all of this going on? There was a limiting belief in there. I don't remember which one. I won't say it if it's not appropriate, but that was,
No, go for it.
well, you wanted to build your own thing.
Yeah, that was it.
That was the big thing.
Yeah,
I've got to build my own thing in this area, and I've got to do it. And there was a bit of ego, a bit of stubbornness, maybe a bit of insecurity in there. It's like I've got to do it this way. And I could work. And I've heard of many coaches in my field that do this sort of thing. You're doing it because you're insecure. You should stop, and you're going to feel attacked, isolated, misunderstood. And even if it's true, and even if you see the point, we haven't reached a common ground. Or I can say, no, really, why do you want to do this? What is this truly about? What are you trying to achieve? And is it worth the payoff? And you told me your objective is this, yet you're doing this, which doesn't correlate with that. So why? Tell me more about that. And helping you come to your own realization. That's actually what coaching is.
Yeah.
Mentoring is a bit different, because every now and then I switch into mentor mode, which is, well, here's a framework we can install that's going to help you actually do the thing. Or hang on, let's look at your boardroom. You're missing this piece in the chessboard. Let's bring that piece in and let's see what we can move around, So again, for you as an example, those are the sorts of things that we did to unlock that.
It was the insecurity of OSI, which is education office furniture. So my dad started that, and then I started working for my dad in sales at 19. So I've been working within the company for 10 years. And it was the insecurity of, my dad, although from taking over from my dad in 2021, we have increased the revenue, 40, 50%. So we have done a good job since he left. But my insecurity was, well, I want to be able to say that I built something from scratch on my own. And that's where the coaching came in. There was the element of I did want to help people, and I saw an opportunity there. But ultimately, it was like I want to turn around to my dad and say, yeah, Dad, I did it on my own. When in reality, and I think it was Elliot, one of my best friends, said, yeah, but Tom, you've chucked another nearly £2 million worth of revenue on a business that was doing just short of 3 million. Like, you've done a fucking good job. Like, I think you should be proud of that. And then obviously that's where you helped me see, you're spreading yourself too thin for what? Like, why even bother?
Yeah.
So it's just having I think that was the best way I could describe it, was the clarity, just more clarity on what I actually want and why I want it.
Yeah. Sharpening the mental blade.
Yeah.
Because if you have a blunt blade, you go through chomping and chopping and chopping at the tree, and you're chopping at 3 different trees at different points with this blunt blade. Or we can say, you want to chop this tree, and we're going to sharpen this blade, and you don't have to work as hard, and you can make a lot more money and love the journey en route. Yeah. How would that sound? And if I told you that at the beginning of the process, you'd have probably said, that's not possible. Hey, I'm going to save you 4 hours a day. You're going to feel much better, much happier. Oh, and then you're going to do your best month ever and make a lot more money. You'd probably go.
This podcast is fueled by Prep. Prep is a nutrition-first meal prep company that allows me to have high-quality meals without spending hours in the kitchen. As a business owner that prioritizes their health and fitness, Prep allows me to hit my goals for the day without sacrificing loads of time. My personal favorite is the Cajun salmon, but if that's not for you, then there is plenty of other options as well, including vegetarian and halal. And the best part, you get 10% off your order when you use the code TOM10 at the checkout. That's TOM10 at prepuk.com.
You know, when you find yourself sat with nothing to do and you feel like you should be doing something, what would you say to somebody that feels like that?
If you're ambitious, because there's a difference. If you're not ambitious, it doesn't make sense. But if you're ambitious, you're always going to be questioning whether you're working hard enough.
Yeah.
You're always going to be questioning, am I doing enough? Always. It's always going to be there. That's never going to go away. So the trick is understanding, is working beneficial or not beneficial? I'll give you an example yesterday. So I flew in from Dubai on Wednesday, landed late at night, wake up the next day, and then I had my morning. I had 2 hours before I was about to step on stage and speak. Now, I was pretty tired because I'd spent 7 hours curriculum writing for the certification that I'm writing on the plane. So I essentially did a whole working day
On the plane.
on the plane. So I was pretty tired. So what I could have done is push myself to the nth degree to get an extra 2 hours of curriculum writing out, or I could go for a walk and have a nice breakfast and rest up, because I'm going to speak in front of, I think it was 50, 60 people there, all business owners. Went in, spoke, delivered a great talk. Then straight off of that, I was delivering another online masterclass. So I step into that and I do that talk. Then I have 30 minutes between that talk. So I've done 2 back-to-back talks and then a one-to-one client call. Now I could be telling myself I need to get back to all these messages and emails and pushing myself in that 30 minutes, or I can switch my phones off and I can lie down and stare at the ceiling for 30 minutes. Because I know if I want to show up in that one-to-one session, I need to be sharp. So I rested, delivered the session, I had finished, and then I had 2 hours before a networking event in the evening and dinner. So instead of me, again, attacking myself, I need to get this done, I cleared off a series of messages. I went for a walk, called my mum, rested, recovered, went into the networking event, ready to rock and roll. So the key thing is thinking like a lion gets up, hunts and sleeps. That's it. So when you operate more like a lion, it's much easier for you. Whereas if you're grazing like a cow at your work, like always working, never really switching off, like it's just not effective. It's gonna take you longer to get things done. You're gonna be more fatigued, more tired, more frustrated. Everyone says burnout. I don't think. Burnout's very real. I just think people that think they're burnout are just fatigued most of the time.
I remember the phrase that I can't remember the exact phrase, but I said, be a king, not a, what was the other one?
Was it the warrior, magician, lover?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that thinking framework. There's 4 key archetypes. You have the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. So you have a very strong warrior. You are here to get shit done. The warrior is the part of you that it's on the attack, it's on the front foot, it's productive, it's moving forward, initiates conflict, isn't afraid to have a ding dong and go, all right, come on, let's go. The problem with the warrior is it burns you out and it keeps you working and fighting fights that you don't need to fight. You have the magician, creative, lots of ideas. We can do this, we can solve things this way, and we can find this opportunity and exploit that. Cool. The downside of the magician is he's very anxious, and you can start thinking yourself into all of these problems, and you start worrying about the future and having doubt and fear, and that can come in. Then you have the lover, and you've got a strong lover, which is it cares about other people, wants everyone to win, and it has a lot of love, and it wants to help. The downside of the lover is people-pleasing or taking on too much or bending over backwards for people. And then you have the king, and the king is almost like the CEO of the mind. The king can take the long-term strategic view. The king knows when to actually tell the warrior, actually, you're pushing too hard. Let's just pull you back and rest, and let's get a bit more creative with the solutions that we need. Or actually, don't attack this person. Let's bring the lover in and empathize and understand. The king is able to see the entire kingdom, not just what the warrior wants or the magician wants or what the lover wants. So in those archetypes, you have a default. You tend to just go back to warrior mode. And that's part of what driven and ambitious people do. But we need to get you back to king so you can make better decisions strategically about where you spent your time and the decisions that you were making to unlock more time, more energy, so you can make better results in your business,
Be the king.
Yeah.
Be the king. I want to just ask you these quick fire questions.
Just a quick one. Most of you watching this episode aren't yet subscribed. So if you want your weekly motivation from some incredible guests, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications on.
You give amazing advice, but what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Oh, there's so many, mate. Oh, there's so many. The best one. The best one, I'm going to say this. It was my boxing coach before my first fight. I was really nervous, like everyone. I was afraid, and I didn't feel like I was skilled enough yet. And in boxing, in the gym, you'll have a whiteboard on the wall, and then you'll have your name and your weight and the date. And as soon as I saw my name go up, I went to my coach. Is that real? Yeah, you got to fight in like 3 weeks. I was like, I don't think I'm ready. I think I need 2 more months of training, and then I can fight. And he stoops down to 12, right? Comes down to my level. He looks me in the eyes. He says, Kyran, if you wait until you think you're ready, you'll never be ready. This is the one opportunity you've got to beat this now. And if you beat this now, and you do this now, regardless of the outcome of the fight, what you will learn is a skill that's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. And that piece of advice just opened everything for me. Whenever I hesitate, I'm like, well, hang on, if I wait until I think I'm ready, I'm never going to be ready. And I think that line of code installed in my unconscious mind was a great piece of advice. But I've had so many, but that was the best I could squeeze in.
There's no perfect time to start.
Yeah.
If you always wait for the perfect time, then you'll never start.
Okay.
What do you find is the most common mistake people make when chasing success?
What is the most common mistake? I think the most common mistake people make when they're chasing success probably is the assumption that they're the only one that doesn't feel enough. They're the only one that feels anxious. They're the only one that compares themselves to others, and that, all of these thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are evidence that they're not enough, they're not worthy, and they're not a strong enough person in their ambitious field. I think it's that.
What's one thing that everyone can implement to instantly start being a higher performer?
One thing. Yeah, you're probably going to laugh at this answer. And anyone that's listening to this is going, yeah, that's rich coming from you, but I think it's hiring a coach or a mentor. Really. Like, I always have coaches or mentors in my corner because they can see things that you can't. If you hire someone that's experienced in the field, they can help you avoid mistakes that they haven't made. I mean, just look at Gareth, who we've brought into your boardroom,
About to say,
who's now got a series of experiences that he can say, don't do that. Like, really avoid.
Why the fuck are you doing that?
Don't do it that way. Or, have you looked at this or considered this? You know, if you're a high performer, you're probably very ambitious and driven, and you want to get to the next league and get to the next level. Without a doubt, having a coach is like a cheat code.
It's like find the person that's done the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And they've made the mistake so you don't have to.
Yeah, that's right.
So what does success look like for you?
Being really good at what you do and loving the journey of what you do. That's what success means to me. Like, the byproduct of money and accolades and awards and all those things will come off the back of that. But if you love what you do every single day and you're exceptional at it, what's more successful than that?
Love it. I agree completely. What is one habit that you instill that pays off massively? It's one small habit that pays off massively for you.
Training in the morning.
I agree.
Like, really simple habit that changes the game for me is just training in the morning.
You're not a morning person, are you, normally?
No. I set my days up so my mornings are at low speed and then my afternoons and evenings are at high speed. That's how I work best. But yeah, like, training in the morning just resets everything. It's like a clear out for your brain and for your body.
For somebody that is experienced in your field, somebody that isn't, and the listeners, what is the neurological advances that you have? Like, what is the science behind why training in the morning will benefit the rest of the day?
Well, it doesn't benefit everyone, but it can benefit a lot of people. And it also depends on the field in which you work in. So, for example, if you're working in construction and you're already exercising, like, it can be helpful to get your training done early, but it's not always going to help, particularly if you train too hard and then you're fatigued, then your injury risk goes up. But for knowledge workers, so people that are working behind computers and understanding, making phone calls or working with people, There's a few things. Obviously, there's a series of hormones and endorphins that are released in the body and in the brain to help you calm down. If you're doing cardio-based exercise, think about it. It's more like meditation because you're breathing more, you're getting more oxygen to the brain, more oxygen into your blood. That calms you down. You tend to also be a bit more present because especially if you're doing a sport, or something like that in the mornings, you're just concentrating your mind. You're not worrying about the day before. You're not worrying about the day after. You can really focus and concentrate. And also you get an energy dump. Like you get more energy after exercising. Energy breeds more energy. And it does just clear out.
I notice a huge difference in my day if I don't exercise. Like even if it's a case of just doing stretching, for me it's just doing something first thing in the day, whether it's just going on the Stairmaster for 25 minutes when I'm not injured, going for a run or going to the gym. Like today I've done a full day with Gareth, who is my new mentor within OSI. And it's a full day in the boardroom, 8 hours. It's intense. It's a lot of information. And I knew that I had to be on the money, all guns blazing. So I knew that I had to be in the gym this morning, just doing something, just to get that day started in the best possible way. I fixed my sleep, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
good. What happened?
It's caffeine.
It was the caffeine.
Yeah,
so you just took the caffeine
just
completely
took it out completely.
Yeah,
Decaf only.
Yeah,
No
good.
decaf after 12.
You did that? You implemented that?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Good work.
so fixed my sleep. So today, for example, it's 5:25. I've been up 6 o'clock this morning. I've not really had a break. Went for a quick walk. That's it. But I've been on it all day. And I don't think I would have been on it all day if I'd not exercised this morning.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you.
So simple.
Yeah, so simple.
But yet effective, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the habit of, like, I purposely leave my phone on charge downstairs now. And I go up to bed, normally tired because I'm up early, but I'll read. And then it's going downstairs for me, rehydrating, having my supplements, going to the gym. The other side of that is going upstairs with your phone, going on your phone, going to sleep, waking up with your phone, going on your phone, not going downstairs, not exercising. You spend half an hour on your phone without even realising. So then you're stressed. You're then running late to work or wherever it is you need to be. Like the differences between the two starts of the day are insane, but it's so simple.
Yeah. If you lose an hour in the morning, you spend the whole day looking for it.
Exactly. What is one trait you see in every single elite high performer?
One trait I see in elite high performers, as you call them, ambition. Like just ambition. That ambition to be better, that ambition to achieve things, that ambition to go and do amazing things. I pretty much see that everywhere. And ambition is a little bit like fire. It can keep the house warm. You can cook your chops on it, put it into rockets, puts man on the moon. It's amazing. But it can also burn the whole house down, and it can burn fires down. It can destroy everything. So a lot of ambitious people have too much fire, they have too much ambition, and they literally burn out, and they push themselves into the floor, and then they wonder why they're unhappy and underperforming. So a lot of my work actually is just focusing the fire, calming it down, and redirecting it to re-fire it out, if that makes sense. It's the reprocessing of that fire.
Because there's ambition as well. It's like, when is enough enough? When is enough money enough money?
Yeah.
Because that's the trap that a lot of people fall into. And it's the thing that I've fallen short of before, is not being grateful for what I've got and thinking that when I get to that next level, that's when things will be good. And that comes from ambition. But what you helped me realise is that, looking around you, what you have got, the simple things in life. If you've got a roof over your head, you've got clean water, a set of clothes on your back, then you're 99% richer than most of the world.
The richest man in the world is the one that has enough. The even richer man than that guy is the one that is enough. So if you realise you have enough and you realise that you are enough, then you can start using positive fuel. So light energy. How good can life be? Are you chasing more money, or are you just enjoying the growth and the person that you become in the pursuit of being a better entrepreneur, businessman, to then go and grow and do that? That's light energy. Dark energy is, fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to show everyone how great I am and how I am the best, or I am the dominant alpha male of our species, and that's you'll achieve a lot on that energy, but you won't experience as much calm, peace, connection, love, abundance, true abundance versus scarcity. So that's the energy that you're now burning on.
What do you find more common, people that don't feel enough or people that don't have enough within your work?
Most, like if we look at a global perspective, everyone in my line of work and the people you and I know have more than enough. Like we have more than enough. We are the luckiest people on the planet. Even if you're listening to this podcast, if you can read and write, have you ever met anyone that can't read or write? No. I have. And it's heartbreaking. It's like imagine not being able to read or write. Imagine getting your payslip and having your mate having to tell you what that is. Can you imagine how debilitating that would be, right? Us being born in this country is a golden lottery ticket. A lot of people like to slag the UK off. It's a lottery ticket. We can read, we can write, we can use computers. We have access to the internet. We have access to healthcare. Could it be better? Yeah, but we're born in hospitals, you know?
Why is it that we're so fucking miserable then?
I think, particularly if we look at maybe the generation above ours, like life was a lot more livable. There's a lot more disposable income generally. People could live really well, like a normal person in like a normal role could keep their wife at home if they didn't want to work and still provide for a family and still buy a house and still go on holiday and live a really high quality of life. I think the cost of living, and I think, like I'm talking specifically in the UK, right? I think the cost of living has changed. I think the level of taxation has gone up and wages haven't increased drastically. So now a lot of people are unhappy because they've seen the lifestyle that perhaps their parents had or that they used to have, and now that's being squeezed. And people don't like change. Now they perceive they don't have as much as before. I think also safety. Things have become less safe and crime statistics are up. So, you know, when you're paying more tax and there's more crime and it's harder to get good education and good hospitals, then of course. Yeah. So that's like the UK specifically. But human beings are built to be dissatisfied. Like we are dissatisfaction machines, you know. The thing that's driven our species to be what we believe is the main dominant species on planet Earth is this dissatisfaction, is everything needs to be better, is this thoughts towards the future and optimizing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. So it's built within us. Dissatisfaction has kept us alive. It's like you're not built to be happy. You're not designed to be happy. You're designed to survive and procreate. That's it. That's what the limbic system will tell you. Then you've got the prefrontal cortex, which is newer tech, part of the brain. That's the CEO of the mind that can think about plans and executive function and decision making and these sorts of things. And that's where you have to kind of negotiate with that inner chimp brain. It's like, it's all right, mate. You're safe. You've got enough. You are enough. Everything's good. And that's where we go more into self-actualization. Why am I here? Why am I spending my time on this planet? What am I doing? What am I up to? So I think we're designed for dissatisfaction, and it is just, you have to kind of catch that and go, oh, I have everything I need. Like, what else do I need? You know? Because whenever I ask myself that question, whenever I feel dissatisfied or frustrated or annoyed, I write down everything that I have and everything that I am. And I always end up finishing that journaling session with, I am the luckiest man on the planet. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. One thing I've started doing, which I lost touch of doing for a number of months, and I think it's helped me with my sleep, is getting up in the morning and the first thing I'm doing is going and having my cold shower. But in the shower, I'm just practicing my breathing work and just reminding myself of everything that I'm grateful for. And then having that internal dialogue of just saying, I'm fortunate, I'm lucky, I'm happy, today's going to be a great day, let's fucking get it. Yeah. And then getting out and just doing that small little habit just changes the rest of your day. And again, it's the differences. And I think the mistake a lot of people make is not taking advantage of these small, little, powerful, simple habits that will transform not only the day, but your mental health, you know, your well-being, your happiness, and the way that you look at life.
Yeah. And even the little joys. Like, I don't believe so much in the pursuit of happiness. I think happiness is more like an orgasm. It's like, feels good, dopamine comes out. All right, yeah, amazing, that feels good. And then it just disappears, you know? Whereas I prefer to look and optimize for joy, because when you look at joy, you can find joy in any areas of your life. One simple joy I have every morning is my dog Tail. He is he's a Basenji, so African desert hunting dog from the Congo. He's like a cat, not interested in cuddles. He's very independent. He's like kind of playful, but on his terms. But in the morning, he's the soppiest little dude. And I checked it out, and it's something to do with he's still in a sleep state, and he still feels a little vulnerable and doesn't like the dark. So that's why in the mornings he's so cuddly and tactile. So in the mornings for 5 to 10 minutes, I'll just cuddle with him. I'll just look at this little being who's looking up at me, and I just look at him and I stroke him, and I'm just like, I've got everything I need in my arms. This is amazing, you know? And there are 25 different things you can probably find like that you can inject into your day that's got nothing to do with ambition or success, but it will just help you with your well-being.
I was just like in the morning, getting downstairs, looking at the view, morning coffee, reading a book. Again, it's the little things, isn't it? You don't need a lot to be happy.
Yeah, you don't.
Which a lot of people think they do, unfortunately.
If you have your health and you have somewhere to live and you've got good people around you and you've got a mission, even if you don't feel like you're winning at your mission, but you know, you've got that, everything's sweet. Even if you don't have your mission, but you've still got food, safety, shelter, health. Like, people underestimate how good health is, you know?
Feeling good.
You only value your health when you lose it. You know?
So within a high performer, is there such thing as balance? If there is, what is the definition of balance within a high performer?
No, I don't think there's like a black and white binary answer around the word balance. I think it's more, and it depends on the type of performer and what they're doing. So let's say an athlete or an actor, like a boxer or an actor, they have events on, right? So they'll have a fight, they'll have an 8-week training camp, 12-week training camp, and then they'll rest and recover. An actor will just sit around and do nothing until they get called up to act. And then they'll go and do a big film, and then they'll be busy, and then they'll do a few premieres and galas, and then they've got nothing else on for a period of time. So they're still high performers, but they will have no balance, and then, you know, they'll be all work, very little play, and then there'll be lots of play, no work. Then you got entrepreneurs. These motherfuckers are on again and again and again, and they're running marathons, and, you know, they stay in the game the longest. And even if you've got a plan to exit your business in 1 to 3 years, which is quite a short time span, you know, then you still got to stay in the game. So again, the balance required for that high performer is completely different. So that isn't the cool soundbite podcast answer. Like, it has nuance, you know. Like that's how I look at every single ambitious person that works with me. It's like, well, what do they need versus what I can tell them, you know?
Love that. What to you is the concept of total mental performance?
Yeah, for me, if you look at just the language, total, all, mental, mind, performance, this is a sneaky word, performance. When you think of high performance, total performance, it's like, I've got to be an elite performer at everything that I do. But think about the word performance outside of the ambitious world. Where else would the word performance come up? Answer that. That's a question.
Let's ask the question again.
Outside of business and sports and ambition, where else does the word performance come up?
It doesn't.
It does.
Oh.
You go see a play.
All right, yeah.
Or you'd go see...
In the bedroom.
That depends, right? That's a performance mindset. Yeah, that's something that men are very bad at. It's like, I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to be a stud. And it's like, well, you could just make love, you know. Different ball game. But so I kind of like the word total mental play. So total is all. How can you mentally perform across all fields of life? But also not taking the game so seriously that you cripple yourself and you end up hating what you're doing and hating yourself in the process. So when you have total mental performance, you're able to suffer and enjoy your suffering. You're able to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. And you can learn to not take the game so seriously, because we can take things so seriously, but we'll all be dead soon. None of this will matter. it's just darkness. Then we're born, thrusted into the light, and then it's just darkness again, right? That's quite funny. There's quite a lot of funny things that happen. People are inherently funny. Businesses are inherently funny. Funny shit happens. So you can either choose to be this very serious, uptight guy, or you can learn to relax a little. And when you're relaxed but tense enough to be able to, in boxing we say throw a shot, but you're not too tight, and you don't take yourself so seriously. I think that for me is total mental performance.
What's the saying? Do it anyway because you're gonna die soon anyway.
Yeah.
You're gonna be dead one day. So, yeah.
I have memento mori tattooed on my wrist, which is remember you will die. Because it's true. We forget. We're on this planet as if we'll live forever. No, we won't. You know, we don't know when we'll go. We don't know when it's over. So you really have to just
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah. And then also, no one cares.
Yeah.
Like, when did you last think about the Queen?
Very good point.
No, when? The question.
She was on a program I watched last night, but other than that, no. Exactly. And she's been gone now, what, like 18 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, longer than that now, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
So you got to think, like, the Queen, the first real female monarch of one of the largest empires in the world, to then see it come one of the smallest empires in the world, was there in World War II when she first came in. Like, she's been there, done it, seen it as a royal, right? You barely think about her. How insignificant you and I are. You know? So no one cares. So all of this pressure and all of this idea of perception and what people think and whatever, you're a blip.
No one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
No one cares more than you do.
Correct. Yeah.
What, just finishing up the episode now, what do you consider a lot of wasted effort that a lot of people still do? What do you find that people find waste most of their time on?
Doing tasks that don't move the needle forward, that they don't enjoy because of some limiting belief, some emotion, some piece of little t trauma that keeps them stuck in that loop. And that stubbornness that keeps them doing those things. Because when you can take that step back and when you can actually look at the bigger picture and understand this isn't serving me, that's where life begins to change and everything's different. It's only when, you know, you keep clinging onto those and you're stubborn and you can't let it go. That's where most people waste the most amount of energy.
When did that happen for you?
Oh, I've done it loads of times. And I continuously have to catch myself to not fall into that. I remember my mentor, Ron. Like, here's a simple example. So when I was closing, I was getting really pissed off with the business development team. Like, they weren't booking me enough meetings. And I looked in their database and I didn't feel like they had enough data. So I stayed late one night to go and build my own database, do my own prospecting, to go and sign my own clients. And I kept doing that. And then Ron caught me late one night and he said, "What the fuck are you doing that for?" And I said, "Not getting enough meetings, not getting this. And he smacked me around the back of the head and he said, "You're not allowed to do that anymore," but he did it anyway. And he went, "You're too expensive to do that. You should have fucking told me and I would have paid someone to come and build the databases for you. What are you playing at? Think about it. You're too expensive to do that. I'm paying you far too much fucking money for you to be staying late here in the office doing that." And I was all proud of myself when I started doing it. Yeah, I'm taking action. I'm not waiting around. I'm going to do it myself. And that little lesson really made me think, I'm probably too expensive to be doing some of these things. So now I'm always asking myself, where am I too expensive to be doing this or building this or whatever? So that kind of opened my eyes. And I think that's really helped me. I ask myself sometimes, like, would I pay anyone else, I don't know, £1,500 an hour to do this thing? No. If that's the case, I shouldn't do it. You can't always live your life like that. Some people it'll be £100, some people it'll be £10,000, whatever number you put on it, right? But I always like £1,000 an hour, like in any field, because then it really makes you think, actually, should I be doing the thing or not? So that's, I don't know if that's a direct example, but that's a lesson that I learned around that. That's helped me.
No, and lead on to the last question. Go back to Kyran. Let's say 16-year-old Kyran in year 11. You've been told that you're not good enough. struggling with ADHD. Your dad's put you on the bench at football. If you could go back to 16-year-old Kyran, what would you say to him?
16-year-old Kyran was already boxing by that point, and he left football behind. So he'd already given
12-year-old Kyran.
12-year-old Kyran, right? Yeah, 12-year-old Kyran.
Let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
If you could go back to 12-year-old Kyran, struggling with ADHD or undiagnosed ADHD, I imagine, being told that he's not good enough, being benched by his dad, what would you say to 12-year-old Kyran?
I would come in, I would look him in his eyes, and I would see him, and I would see him very deeply because he didn't feel seen or heard. And I'd put my hand on his shoulder, and I was like, mate, I get it. You feel trapped. You feel not enough. You feel afraid. But you've got that fire in your belly that life will get better. I am the living example that life did get better. So relax. Everything you're experiencing is building an incredible future for you. So suck it up. Keep working through. Things will get better. They might even get harder before they get better, but they will. These are the foundations that you need. By the way, I love you, mate, because you are your own best friend. And if you're not your own best mate, life's going to get very difficult. That's what I'd tell Kyran. And I think that's the lesson that he needed, you know?
I love it, Matt. I love it. Kyran, thank you so much for your time. I have the utmost gratitude for you as a person, the utmost respect. And I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for how much you've helped me since I've been working with you. Thanks, mate.
Mate, a pleasure, an honour. And yeah, like when I look at what you're doing now and the energy that you show up with, the decisions that you make, like completely different, man. And you just seem happy, man.